Mom Chisme is back for Women's Small Business Month, and we are super excited because for the month of October, we're having a series with small business women that inspire us, that really we look up to their business, what they do, and their presence online. Over October's National Women's Small Business Month, and it highlights the benefits of having women involved in small business. It really catapults the economy. It facilitates things for families, like extracurricular activities for kids. So in our business, it's one of our core values to really highlight small business and how we can empower other small business women that are starting or that are in the middle of it, that we can support and highlight each other. Our goal with this series is to share resources and advice to support other small business owners that are women, our moms that are watching us and listening to us.
Yes. So, for our first guest, we have invited none other than the Embroidery Queen.
Yeah.
We've invited Cynthia from Caprilina.
Thank you.
Guys, she has scaled a business from literally a closet in her parents' home to this beautiful storefront that she will go ahead and talk about a little later. She has 8 employees. She has 84,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, the list goes on, and I feel like probably the biggest and the most like, oh my God moment for Lena and I mean, there have been others, but the one that really hit home was when Paris Hilton herself got a going home outfit for her son, beautifully monogrammed, and he wore it on his amazing debut in People magazine.
Jaw drop moment. And we're going to talk about it later. But yeah, like home run out of the ballpark moment I can anticipate from Cynthia, obviously. That
it was insane.
Woohoo!
So thank you, Cynthia, so much for joining us and really helping share your experience and really helping other moms who are in maybe thinking about, or women thinking about starting a small business, or women that are in the middle of and the thick of it, and things that you have learned, hardships that you have gone through, advice that you would give. So yeah, this is really amazing for us, and we cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, girls, for hosting me. I met your mom, Sarah, at our very first Boss Mom Mercado, and I'll never forget that day. You were pregnant with your first daughter, and she's like, oh my goodness, like I don't even know the gender yet, but I want to buy something. You know, she was so excited. The typical Latin abuela that's eager to meet this baby on the way. And the rest is history, right? And so thank you so much for letting us be part of your first baby's life and also your baby boy. So if I had something just to kind of start with about opening your own business, starting your own business, is definitely to just start, like do it, but then don't quit. Like just keep going, keep pushing, consistency. It will get through, you know. Even when you don't think it will, if you just remain, somebody will remember along the way, like, oh, I remember that so and so did this. Let me reach out to them, you know? And so, you know, you just keep going and you just keep going. It's a consistency. It's almost like, let's say, working out. If you're like, okay, today's Monday, you know, we're going to start working out, and 10 days into it, you're like, oh, I see 0 results. Like, this is no good. This is going nowhere. Like, forget it. I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to keep working out. This is nothing. Well, then you're never going to see results, right? But if you just go, and you don't even look back, you don't even think about the results, you just push and push and push, you will get somewhere, you know? So
that's very, very good advice, because we always say the same thing. Consistency beats talent 100% of the time. But let's dive right into our first question for you, Cynthia. After many years as a small business owner, what is the biggest mistake that you've done ever, and what was the lesson that you learned from that mistake?
okay, so the biggest mistake, that's a hard one because I thankfully haven't come into anything huge, like a big dramatic mistake, but maybe like taking more risks. Like I'm very slow, so I don't do anything huge. Like I don't make huge moves all at once, right? And maybe if I did that, we'd have a bigger store, we'd have more merchandise, we'd have a bigger following. So I would say maybe bigger risks. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a mistake. It's just kind of like the way that things have played out. And I'm very conservative, you
Okay.
know? So I would say if I had to change something, maybe that.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Talking about that, when when I was pregnant with Henry, my mom wanted these burp cloths that had little motifs on them. And I remember Cynthia having a little bit of a pushback because if you go onto Cynthia's website or you see her store, she's very conservative in the sense of everything is very classic, everything is very, like, it'll never go out of style. So my mom wanted these motifs on her burp cloth and she kind of pushed back a little bit. But we pushed her a little more to,
I'm
come on, let's
super,
try it.
I'm very strict. I am like 100%. I would say that after I did those burp clots, I was like, okay, fine. Let's move forward. And now it's like we offer them on the website. We have because there's a lot of things that can set you up for failure, right? So like it's almost like trying to please everyone, but somewhere along the lines it gets lost, you know?
Okay. Yes. Go
So
ahead.
when you have your brand and you're strict and you stick to it, it's almost like having your beliefs about something and you're like, okay, nothing is going to change this. Like I know what I want for the brand. I see a vision for the brand, and I don't want to skew it and then try to like please everything and everyone and then lose myself in the on the way, you know? So I really contemplate things for a long time. Like I everything that you see in the store wasn't something that happened like overnight. Like I wasn't like, oh, let's just start selling this today and then it's like here tomorrow, you know? Everything takes time, like
Now,
a year and a half.
I have a follow-up question to that. Have you always been like that? I know that you initiated your career. You started, correct me if I'm wrong, I did a very deep dive into almost borderline disaster. But
No,
you started your small business journey as a nail artist, entrepreneur, and jewelry entrepreneur. Now,
that is correct.
was was this being so strict with your brand something that you learned along the way, or have you always been like that?
I've always been that way. I think that is
Okay,
like a personality trait. Like I
right.
am very, I mean, I would say thanks to my husband, I am more open-minded. I'm a little bit more round, right? But
Okay.
I would say I'm very I'm very, I don't know, I'm very like square, you know? So like my nails, like even though I was a nail tech and I loved doing all sorts of colors because I used to love how it would look on and the girls with the long nail beds or the longer nails and stuff like that. But for me, like I stick to the same 5 colors and don't change it because I'll have a fit. Like I don't know. I don't know. I think it's like it might be like a bad trait, but I try to work on it.
No, that's good because it's creating a consistency, and I can say that whenever I see a baby picture that hasn't tagged you or anything and they're wearing Caprilina, I can see it on Instagram and be like, that is a Caprilina baby, even if mom
Right.
hasn't tagged Caprilina. And then down the line, I'll see that she'll tag you or something like that. I'm like, see, that was a Caprilina
Well,
baby. So
yeah,
that's
so
a good thing to have.
that kind of thank you. That kind of goes back to what you were mentioning about Paris Hilton. So the Paris Hilton, it was extremely organic. They just put their order in online. Um, and we figured it out. But they didn't tag us on Instagram, I'm sure for a lot of different reasons. Um, but everybody sent it to us because they knew like right off the bat, like, okay, that's Caprilina. Like we know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I never, I guess I never thought about it that way, but yes, I agree that like it does give your brand a look, you know? And something super silly, I was looking back at pictures from when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, and I had, maybe I was a little older, maybe I was like 12, and I had like bracelets on my hand that were, I'm sure you guys know, like, you know, like the little beaded bracelets that are for little kids, like that they come in a bunch of different colors, that you
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
use them in like the braids that people do.
Yeah.
Okay, I had like all the bracelets, and it was like this, but with those beads. And so fast forward to now, I'm still the same person. Like it's like I still do the jewelry. My husband calls it like I accessorize. After I shower, get dressed, do everything, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna accessorize now. So it's like I'm very consistent. I change a little bit, but my ways tend to be exactly the same. So maybe
Second.
that's
No,
no,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna, that maybe that's also part of a mistake that I might like have, that maybe I could do more if I wasn't so closed off.
I mean, it's worked so far, so I don't. I feel that if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right now, what many women see you as an inspiration for their own business. What advice would you give someone who would want to be like you?
Um, maybe don't be like me. Like, like, you know, everybody has something special to them. And I mean, use things and people as inspiration, and but be true to you. Like, don't be afraid to show who you are, and to show rules, and to show like, for example, we have, you know, certain policies in the store, no refunds, exchanges, cancellations, right? Not just because it's personalized, but also because I don't like the idea of buying something for my baby that could have gone into somebody else's house, hands. It could have fallen on the floor if they have pets, and then resell it to another family. You know what I mean? But that's like my personal belief. And I can't be afraid to do that. And I think that some people can get upset at it, but other people appreciate that. And they're like, I prefer to buy here because I like this policy. I like the way that they take care of their stuff, you know? So I think, so like never be afraid to show your who you are. I mean, like you, Lena, I think just like you look up to me, I look up to you. I think you're so, you know, like out there, and like you're, I don't know, like you just go on Instagram every morning and you talk, and like you're so you know what I mean? And who cares what people think? Who cares what people say? Like you show this positive energy, like you're always happy, and you know, you show everything you got going on. And I think that that's beautiful because it's you know? So I think that that would definitely be my biggest thing, is like be yourself and don't be afraid.
I love them.
What would you say is the main thing that keeps you motivated every single day?
100% my love and passion for what I do. I I find something new to love every day about my, I hate calling it job, but like about my business, my job, what I do. Like I can't even, it's so silly, but I can't even describe it. It's like, I don't know. Like I find something new every day. It's like, you know how you love your children, and you, one day you love them because they look so cute, or one day you love them because they give you kisses, and you're like, okay, you're my favorite child today, you know? So it's like, it's kind of like that here at the store. It's, you know, I find something new to fall in love with every day, or a new idea, or a new something to motivate me, like, okay, I this idea, oh my goodness, it just came to me. My usual time for this like motivational feeling is my shower, like in the morning. And I just start like thinking, you know, you have like your deep thoughts, and I start thinking about things that I could bring new to the store that moms would like, that would be useful. And then I walk in the mornings and I'm like, wow, I'm so ready to bring it out, to launch it. And also the community, like the following that we have, the moms, you girls, like the love that we feel is definitely so motivational, and it inspires us to do and be better, and to grow and to be able to provide, like, yes, our bread and butter, what we specialize on is newborn essentials, like all your coming home outfits, the first month of life. But we're trying to make it like where you can shop here for a very long time until your baby's like 10, 8, 9, so that you
Yeah.
can have these things that you hold so dear for a long time, not just newborn stage.
I love that. I feel that you can really tell that you are very passionate and motivated by what you do. It translates through every piece of your business. I think in your Instagram, in your website, every single touch point. I feel that I haven't been to your store, but the newer one, but even at the older one, you could feel every single aspect of what you just described. So it's
Thank
interesting to
you.
see how that love gets translated and
Thank
permeates
you.
throughout your whole brand.
Thank you.
Um, what has been the best advice you've ever received?
Um, Kind of caught me a little unprepared for this one. I have to really think, but I always get good advice from like my family, which I think is the one that, is always there to kind of like for me to run to. Um, and I think it's just them telling me like you you can do it. Like there's nothing to be afraid of, You can do it, and if you fail, like we're here. Like everyone's afraid of failing, right? You take a test and you're like, oh, I got a bad grade, and you're afraid of that feeling. But once you do it and you failed at that test, if you retake it, you already know like what you did wrong. So I think that is, I would say, my best advice that comes from my family, like perseverance, like I said before, and don't be afraid, just do it. You fail, we're here. Don't be afraid of anything. It's all going to work out.
Like that.
How would you say that? How do you keep productive feeling like a little burned out? Like I feel like sometimes, especially in like the age of social media and the way that we run businesses now, burnout is a real thing. So how do you keep productive when you start to feel that feeling?
Okay, that's a good question. So social media is huge, right? The world is huge. There's room for everyone, there's space for everyone and everything. Um, Personally, I'm a person that believes that competition isn't a real thing. Like, I don't think that competition exists. And my favorite, like, comparison is there's two gas stations there's one gas station across from the other in a corner, right? Like, you're probably going to use the one most convenient to you, the one that's on the way, the one that when you turn in, you can get out and still stay on your route, right?
Yeah.
So, or you're going to use the one that, how can I like
The one
you're
that you
gonna
really like. Like
the
the one I really like the one that's by my house because specifically, I don't know why, ya yo le cogí cariño a la señora que está ahí, me
yeah,
sale toda la mañana, like they sell things, it's
e-
convenient, pero también es I
exactly.
really like it.
Exactly. Like it's something that you like, it's convenient, it's on your way, it's close to your house. So there's a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that all the other ones aren't getting any love, you know? I'm sure that they have the people that like their gas station. So I think it's kind of like that at our store. Like we do get a lot of people that maybe try to do the same thing or similar or kind of give it the same feel, but then it goes back to what we mentioned at the very beginning. Like Caprilina has a feel, it has a brand, it has a look, it has a style that you can't, it's just, you can't copy two things and it be exactly the same. So by by keeping that in mind and kind of staying narrow visions to just what we have going on now, it kind of doesn't distract you about everything else that's going out, and it doesn't give you that burnt out feeling. Because I think the burnt out feeling happens when you start thinking like, oh, this person does that, or I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I don't have the right words, but can you guys kind of get what I'm trying to say? Like,
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think a burnt out feeling from what I hear is it's always mental. I feel that burnt out comes from a place of mindset. And I feel that that's why a lot of people struggle with it. I feel that, like for example, eh, in the last 2 years, I've been dealing with a very contentious divorce. So my burnout stems from that a lot because I'm regulating my emotions for something that's very big that's happening in my life, and that's where I get burnt out. But how, from what I hear from you the same way, it's shifting that mindset, and I feel that that's exactly what people do, and what small business owners have to do is when you're feeling burnt out, it's feeling that shift of your mindset of what can you control, what you can't control, and then come up with a plan. Then that way you don't feel overwhelmed and just take action with what
right,
you know what I mean? Because there's certain things that you can't control. Just like I can't control my situation with my divorce, we can't control somebody copying you or somebody, and comparison and things like that. So, that mindset of focusing on what you're doing and your job and just focusing on doing the best version of yourself, which I think you said it clearly. If you focus on that, that's the only thing that's valuable, and that's what's going to make the difference between you feeling burnt out and
yeah.
you like giving it your best and all.
I definitely think that there's also different versions of feeling burnt out, right? Like you can say you feel burnt out because you you work 7 days a week and you're like, okay, I need like a mental break of like, can I go to the spa, or can I don't know, work out? Can I go to the pool, ocean, beach, anything, So there's that type of um, burnt out. But then I think the burnt out that I was talking about more was like overall, like being in business for X amount of years and you feel burnt out of doing the same thing. And so that's when I think it's it's where you have to really step back and think, okay, people, I think shopping is like on emotion, you know? When you buy something, you buy it not just because you like it, but also there's a meaning behind the brand. There's a reason, you bought something on Instagram because your favorite blogger was the one that posted it. And you're like, oh, if she posted it, for sure, I love it because I trust her word. So it's something that you feel coming from this person that you follow, right? So I think it's all like connected.
I love that. Now, who are some people that have influenced you the most on your small business journey? Somebody that you look up to, or somebody in your family that has influenced you the most?
I would definitely say my family. I feel like my family is always pushing me to do better, be better. They are always there. Like, I mean, I could anything. I could bring out the most bizarre idea, like something like ridiculous. I'll be like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's go. Come on. Like they never say no to anything. Like they're always on like I could call them right now and say, hey guys, um, I don't know, we need to move the store outside. Anything. And they're just like always there. They're always helpful. And I wouldn't say everyone. It's like not just one person in my family, everyone, my parents, my husband, my in-laws, everyone, even my kids. My daughter comes into the store and she's always like trying to help people shop. And, she always tells me, she's like, Mommy, when I grow up, can Caprilina be mine? And so I definitely think, I have to thank my family for that.
I love
I
that.
love that. So I think that that's a huge piece for us too.
Yeah.
I mean, our
Yeah.
family is like our biggest
Fans.
our biggest fans, our biggest driving force. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
what is something that most people don't know about being an entrepreneur that would surprise them if they did?
It's not as easy as it looks. Yeah, it is definitely, it is, I mean, it's a full-time, it's a life, like it's a lifestyle. It's not a 9 to 5, you know, you wake up, go to work, come back. It's definitely something that you have to pour your heart and soul and your whole being into it. You have to make it a lifestyle. Like your whole family has to be on board with this. We have to eat, breathe, and talk. Like everything revolves around Caprilina, my whole life. So I'm working 24/7. So yeah, I think that a lot of people think like, oh, I could totally do that. Like, yeah, I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can't, but give us a little bit more credit, you know, because it's definitely a lot of work. It involves everyone. Everyone has to take sacrifices. Um, yeah, like for sure.
I think it's very easy to say, "Oh, I'm going to start this, and I'm going to be my own boss, and this is going to be amazing."
And I'm gonna have so much time off.
I'm going to have so much time to myself, and I'm going to have so much time to do everything that I want to do. And then you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sweating because like you're doing God knows what. Y estás ansiosa, and it's everything you talk about, and it consumes your life. And I think,
Yeah. Or
and I
you
think,
have like an upset customer.
uh-huh.
And
I don't think
it
it's for the faint of heart. I think that you're right. It's a lifestyle, and you.
I feel like you either go all the way or like, or you have to stop, because if
yeah.
you're not willing to put your life and your heart and your soul and like the livelihood of like your children at stake, like then it's
Yeah.
possible that it won't work.
I love your
Yeah.
answer. It's so true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about pivoting in business. Um, as I told you, I did a deep dive into the last few years of your experience. I was, I was really, really impressed by the fact that you really started your small business journey. I feel that you were in high school. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us a little bit about when you were doing nails, you were doing jewelry, and then you started doing the embroidery. When was it that? What was the one thing that made you say, "I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna stick with this embroidery is I'm gonna become the queen of embroidery"?
So my husband calls me the queen of embroidery. That was like it's like a running joke. So my daughter, I was kind of doing everything, and then I had to put like where I would do the nails and the jewelry and all of that. I used to do I had to change the whole room and give it to my daughter. So I put everything outside, like in the living room at my mom's house. And then when my daughter arrived, it was really hard to be able to manage her schedule with everyone else's schedule, right? So like for example, she would wake up at 8 in the morning and then have her milk and I don't know, take a nap at 11. But then I had a customer who maybe wanted to do her nails at 10:30, and then my daughter's feeding time kind of was at the same time, so I wasn't able to feed her and do nails at the same time, right?
Of
So
course.
I slowly started just doing my closest friends, like the ones that understood and that would hold the baby for me while I was doing their nails. And eventually it transitioned out to just do the embroidery because I could, I was doing stuff at 3 in the morning, or I was doing stuff at 6 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, at any time that I found a hole that I can fit it in. But my daughter was always like taken care of.
What I find interesting is that your pivot came from your personal life. A lot of times we make pivots in business that are more, money oriented, and then you follow along with that pivot. It's very interesting that your pivot was mainly, personal driven, which is amazing because it really puts you in the your zone of genius. Like, I don't see you being the queen of nails. I don't see you being anything but an embroidery queen. So,
Yeah.
in a little way, life and your daughter, God blessed you with a daughter, and she kind of like routed you into what was gonna be where you were gonna shine, which was
Right. Yeah, that's I always say everything in life happens for a reason, and God always has like your path. And so the store's name, Caprilina, is Capri for Capricorn because it's my zodiac sign, so it kind of describes who I am. And then Lena for Angelina, my daughter. And so I have videos that maybe I should post one day of like I'm like holding her and we're both watching like the machine while it's going, or I'm holding her and I'm with one hand like doing something else for an order, or there was or everything. Like I would use her as my model. I would embroider things for her even before she was born. And I think that yes, it definitely helped me pivot, but I also made it my life. Like I was telling you before, like it's this or this, you know?
I love that.
We only have two questions left, so
No, I'm not in a
Let's take
rush.
it on. Let's give you like
what's the one thing that every woman in small business should know about being successful?
Never lose yourself, you know, along the way. Like don't success is everybody's definition of success is different, right? It could be personal success, it could be a business success, it could be a family, something that happened in your family. And and some people could lose themselves along the way. And I think, again, going back to the very beginning, um, be true to you and don't let quote unquote success be change you. Like, oh yeah, great, I made it. So now I'm just gonna let everyone like do whatever they want. Oh, you want the designs on the burp cloths? I'll do them. You want the black embroidery? I'll do it. You want to return? I'll do it. Like, you know. So I would say like don't let what success change you, and never stop climbing. Like there's always room for growth. There's always room to learn something new. There's always room to be better and do better.
love that. That is very, very true. I feel that with success, sometimes, it can lead to people, venturing into places that are not their true self. So I love that. And then for the last question, I'm gonna pivot this interview a little bit. I'm not gonna ask it. I'm gonna ask Achievement about the Paris Hilton People magazine because we need to know all the details. Like, it was, first of all, how did you feel, and was that like a like walk us through your feelings, how it happened, and all those things.
So it was the day after my birthday. My birthday is December 26th, and that happened December 27th. Um, and it was just I when the order came in, I didn't think anything of it. I just saw the order. I was like, okay, like whatever next. And then I was like, wait, let me look back through the order. And then everything kind of clicked together, and like I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what? I really couldn't believe it. But I at the same time, I was like, okay, nobody knows that she's pregnant. Like this is for sure a secret. Um, so I need to make sure that that stays that way, you know? And so I kept it very professional. I reached out to them because I needed to, organize the order, make sure it looked good. And I wanted, the fonts, the colors. I had questions. I wanted to understand it. And they were very nice, just do whatever you want. We trust you. It's going to look beautiful. And so it was very professional. They never told me like, oh, hey, did you know I'm Paris Hilton? Like
Yeah.
or did you know that this is for Paris Hilton's baby? No, none of that. And then I let it be. Like I treated it like every other order that we get. Like, we reached out to them. We did everything we could. We made their order beautiful. We packaged it. We shipped it. We followed up. They got it. And then that was it. And then the day they announced it, they reached out to us and they were like, hey, I want to thank you. It was a big secret and like you didn't say anything. So thank you. And the baby is now like announced in the whole world. And he's wearing like your clothes. We love it, et cetera, et cetera. But what was like the most amazing thing that could have, it just lined up so beautifully was that they posted the outfit, like the baby with the outfit, the day before our grand opening. So I'll never forget that day. It was just magical, because it was everything happened at once. Like two great things happened at once. So that was really nice.
I have like a quick follow-up question. Do you feel like because of that order, you felt like a whole new level? Like, did you reach like another milestone in terms of orders or followers on Instagram? Or do you feel like because
So
of
believe
that?
it or not, I get that question all the time. I don't know. I can't attribute it to anything in specific. We do a lot of marketing. We do a lot of different things. We had the grand opening, so I can't say yes or no. I'm sure it has an influence,
Yeah.
but I don't specifically know. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay. This was amazing. I
This
feel
was
like
amazing.
we learned a lot.
Yes.
I feel like a few of the main things that we learned. Number one, I feel like what Cynthia said about entrepreneurs really not getting enough credit, or women entrepreneurs not getting enough credit, and just thinking that anybody can just open anything and go for it
And wing it.
and wing it. I feel like that's huge. I think
Yeah.
that we need to get the credit just like anybody else. It's a lot of work, especially for women. I feel like women have a role in the home as well as outside in your business. Um, and I think it's important that that's highlighted. I think that it's an added thing, but I think that it's important to give credit where credit is due.
Yes.
Yes.
I also love that you said about staying true to yourself and like really being very specific of what your magic is and sticking to it. I feel that um that the idea of doing everything for everybody to please everybody ends up pleasing nobody and you end up feeling burnt out. And I feel that I feel that we went through something like that where at the beginning we wanted to do all the things and quickly realized that it doesn't serve you well. It's better for you to like keep focus on what is true to you and your brand that's gonna work. So I feel that that part was so valuable because it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, finally, Caprilina, Cynthia, Queen of Embroidery, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for sharing your lessons that you've learned and all the advice. Now, let us know, where can we find you? Where can a mom purchase all the baby going home outfits? And what's the best way to connect and shop with Caprilina?
So we have a store in Miami. We're located near the falls, so on 87th and 132nd if you are a fellow Miamian. And we also have our website, so you can shop online at caprilina.com. We have Instagram. We're very active on Instagram, so we try to answer DMs. Like we have somebody designated just for that. So we answer like all the DMs, we answer phone calls, we answer emails, anything to help you shop. Shopping online can be a little bit tricky, a little bit complicated. So we always recommend, if you are stuck, if you have any questions, just call us in store. It's like a whole concierge service. We can FaceTime you if you're out of town. We can make it super easy for you. You can even tell us, hey, this is my budget, just make magic and we'll do it for you. So we'll make your dreams come true.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Thank
This was
you.
amazing.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.